Hi folks, and welcome back to PM Recommends. On today's episode, I'm going to recommend you Kerbal Space Program. Now I'm not going to be using a face cam for the rest of this episode, so take it away, future me. Now you'll like Kerbal Space Program if you like rockets. Because you can build rockets like this. If you can't hear me over the roar of the engines, I do apologise. I'll zoom out slightly so they're a little less roary. But you can build rockets like this, and you have an entire solar system to explore. But each of these stages on the right controls a certain part of the rocket. They're set up when you actually build it. So in Kerbal Space Program, you can travel to any of the planets in this solar system. They all have moons. There are also asteroids which you can travel to. You can build rockets. You can build jets. You can build probes, you can build rovers, you can build moon bases, you can build space stations, you can build pretty much whatever you can imagine in this. Oh, that's a lot of wobble. You might be lucky enough to get an explosion in a minute. Oh man, that's going to break. If that doesn't break, I will be very surprised. But there's no loading times. There's no loading times between me going from here to the moon, or from here back down to the planet. There's no loading times to go from the moon, or from Kerbin to Mars, or Duna as it's called, or Joule, or Elu. There are no loading times in this game, except when you first load it up. There might be slight delays between menu screens, but nothing that will pull you out of the experience. I didn't expect this rocket to be this good. You can also time warp, so you don't have to sit there for ages waiting for, say, your apoapsis to get into range. You can just set a time warp. And maneuvers, which allow you to predict what you can do if you burn at a certain time. You can set targets, so you can set the Mun as a target. Say you want to land on it, correct our orbit first. Can't go slamming back into the Earth, so we'll correct it a bit. That gives us a lot more opportunity to work out from. It's very clever in the way it does it, because it actually changes what gravity field you're being affected by. It doesn't work quite the way that normal physics works, but it still is a very, very close approximation, which is excellent. It does so well to do what it does. Also, little Jebediah Kerman here in the corner can, if he so chooses, go on an EVA. So he can hop out of his spacecraft and fly around in space. Time warping allows you to very quickly reach your destination within actually a playable time limit, otherwise you would be playing in real time, which would take forever. It would take at least 2 or 3 days, at least, to get to the moon, or Mun, as it's called in this. So time warping really does help, especially on the big interplanetary missions, because it predicts where you're going to be, and once you reach that Mun encounter, it switches to the Mun's gravity field, so it doesn't have to calculate anything for Kerbin anymore, it just calculates things for Mun. It's a really good system, it really works really, really well. Look at how happy Jeb is as well, grinning like a loon. We want to slow the hell down. As you can see, it's still trying to calculate where we would be if we carried on our current course, but we're not going to bother with that, it doesn't matter. So we can kind of just ignore that, and we'll spin on a bit more, just to get to our manoeuvre node, which I'll put there, which will take us into circularized orbit around the moon. Right, circularized orbit. We missed our node, but it doesn't matter, you can still carry on. And I think that's enough. So as you can see, if I brought some landing gear, I could have landed on the moon. So this is one of my landers. Let's hop out actually, and I'll show you around the Mun. So this is the surface of Mun, and you're able to get here with no loading screens, with whatever you build. As long as it can make it here, it can get here. So there are 3 different modes when you first start up Kerbal Space Program. You have Sandbox, gives you all of the parts. You can't use research and development, you can't use mission control, but you can go anywhere, do anything, build anything you want. Science is just a science career mode where all you would do is collect science on missions. You'd collect soil samples from the surface of the moon. You'd collect scientific data using scientific equipment you took up there with you. And you could collect it from anywhere. There's all sorts of different biomes on all of the planets and in space that you can collect data from. That would give you science, which you can then use to unlock parts. Now, new career mode gives funds, reputation and science, and also contracts. So this is mission control, where you get all these different kind of contracts and they give you all sorts of different things to do. So for example, plant a flag on Mun. That's essentially what it is. Plant a flag on the Mun. Fly to the moon, plant a flag. You also get to test parts, and that will give you access to the parts earlier than you would have through the tech tree. This is the R&D facility, where you unlock your tech tree when you're playing career. As you can see, each part has a certain cost to it. If you're playing full career mode, you have to purchase the part. Each time you use the part, it costs you money, but you can recover parts to get reimbursed for what you've spent. This gives you all of the reports that you've collected from the different places in the solar system. So on Kerbal, we've got Mun, we haven't been there yet in this career mode. We've done reports to the launch pad, recovery of vessels, all sorts of things like that. Each planet has moons. There's a ton of moons around Jewel. They're always cool to explore, but there's so much to explore. There is literally so much to explore. This tracking station shows you where all of the objects that you own in the solar system are. There aren't any on mine at the moment because nothing has yet taken off properly, but it will show you things like asteroids, space objects and unknowns and things like that. So you can hook asteroids and land them on the planet if you want to. You can go and take science from asteroids. Some missions will have you going to asteroids. That's a cool thing that was added in the update before they added contracts. You'll also like Kerbal Space Program if you like planes. I have no idea if this plane even works, so let's give it a go. If you like building jets and stuff, this is a really good game for it. Well, it actually works, and it works pretty damn well. There's the gear. A bit wobbly. Turn SAS off. We don't need SAS. Stability Assist System, I think it's called. These are the kind of things you can build in it. Let's buzz the command tower, shall we? If we don't crash. Whee! I'm coming in very fast, very fast, very fast, very fast. Try and land it, shall we? Oh, we landed. I'm very surprised. Normally I can't. Put the brakes on that. That's up there is your altitude, your atmosphere, your abort, switch your lights on and off, raise your gear, switch your brakes off, recover vessel, things like that. So say you want to build a jet. We'll start the cockpit, and we'll go to propulsion, and we will we'll just put a standard Mark 1, couple of Mark 1 fuselages on. We'll stick, where's the propulsion bit? I'm looking in the wrong place. Stick an engine on it, aerodynamics, a couple of delta wings on it, some winglets on it, help with stability, put some control surfaces, pressing all the wrong keys, there we go. Put a tail fin on it, turn off symmetry. Got 6 wheels on it as well, but all of these parts you can unlock them in career, or you can just use them in sandbox, and you have access to all of them. They don't cost anything in sandbox either. And then we have a jet. Let's give it a test run. Oh, it's a bit back heavy. Should have put those wheels in a different place. I've forgotten air intakes. So aerodynamic, radial intakes. Stick 2 on because it looks cool. Oop. Okay, go. Oh, we're already up. Up and away. Oh, that was good. Also explosions. Kerbal Space Program is very good for explosions. This is an amazing glider. Can we land it? Nope, we're just going to explode. And that is a very, very quick little jet, which is incredibly manoeuvrable, but also may fall out the sky, because it's so manoeuvrable it'll just stall. Slow down. Buzz the tower again, shall we? If we could actually try and get there. Oh, we're going to a spin. We're okay. Whoosh. See? It's cool, it's cool. You could just like fly around in it. And you can go anywhere on the planet. And there's no loading time. None. Oh, oh. This is the rocket building facility, where you can select your command pod, you can put on decouplers to make it decouple. If you've ever wanted to basically go back and recreate the Apollo program, this is the game to do it in, because you can create such amazing spacecraft, and you can fly them. You don't just sit there and watch them fly, you fly the spacecraft. You go to the planets, you do all of this stuff to actually make your space missions succeed. You are the deciding factor, and it's a fantastic game, not only just to play, but to also help you learn more about physics and science and the aerospace industry as a whole. I mean, it's an astounding game, but it's just so much more than a game. Everything has mass to it as well, which will affect how heavy your ship is and how much thrust you'll need to get off the ground. All that kind of thing. It's so in-depth, but you can literally skim the surface for quite a long time and still have the most fun you have ever had in a game. The first time you land on the moon successfully, the first time you land on it and don't fall over or don't explode, don't crash into the surface, the first time that you successfully land on the moon is amazing. It's one of the best feelings that you can ever have in a game. It just epitomises how good the game is when you can do this kind of thing, when you can literally go from planet to planet without loading times. I mean, that's mind-blowing on its own. You can build shuttles, you can build space planes in it, which is great to be able to do that. You can pretty much do the history of NASA in this game, and it's something I've been very tempted to do for a while, is to do a recreation of the whole of NASA's space program, and possibly even other countries as well. But all of these things combine to make a successful spacecraft. You know, if something goes wrong, it goes wrong in a big way in Kerbal. Finally, these bits, structural, just to hold it up, and that looks good. Let's launch. No, I need to sort out our staging first. The staging is on the right. That helps you to actually understand what the hell's going on. Otherwise things won't decouple properly and it'll all go terribly badly. You won't get off the launch pad. The first objective in this game is get off the launch pad. If you're down there as well. Okay. And launch. And that is our spacecraft. It's very, very high off the launch pad actually. I didn't mean it to be that high. Turn SAS on. Full throttle. And there you go. That is a wobbly freaking spacecraft. That is pretty terrible. I have to apologise for that. It's because I've missed out an entire stage, so that's why it's quite so wobbly. But anyway, that's building rockets in Kerbal Space Program. So we've talked a lot about success so far in Kerbal Space Program and why it's such a good game to succeed in. But it's also a fun game to fail in. Like that, for example, where I let my boosters off too early, and now I think my pod has become detached, so I can't do anything until that runs out of fuel. We will fall out eventually, but we are going up. As you can see here, in this save I've got a ton of like probes and landers and stations and all sorts. I'll take you around a quick tour of them before this all goes horribly wrong. Come on! Run out of fuel, damn it. Oh, this is going to be a while. There we go, ran out of fuel. Now we'll come gently back to Earth. As you can see, that's carrying on quite nicely. Re-entry heat. Re-entry is always interesting. Stop wobbling. I didn't ask it to open, but okay, that might burn up. Don't burn up. There goes our little spacecraft. It's gone. Right, and that's that. Assemble Kerbal will be fine. He'll crash into the water at a safe velocity, and he'll be okay, and we'll be able to recover his vessel. Let's just speed it up so he gets there a bit quicker. There he is. No worries, he's fine. We'll just recover his vessel. As you can see here, we have a whole bunch of stuff floating around. We've got Endeavour 4, which is, if it'll allow me to target it, there you go. It's me attempting to build a space station. Not very well. You know, space stations are hard. We're trying to rendezvous at the moment. Yes, you can build ridiculous things like this. This will explode. Pretty much guaranteed. Or it'll be incredibly successful. One of the two. Yes, that's a massive frame rate hit. I said that's a massive frame rate hit. Things are going to explode. That's actually rather effective. Worryingly so. So that is Kerbal's space program. If you're still wondering, well, why should I play this game? There are 3 reasons, I think. One is fun. It's a fun game. It may not seem like a fun game at first, where you think, oh, it's only running a space program. How hard could it be? Oh, believe me, my friend, rocket science is... no, it's not hard. It's good fun. It's a great fun game. The second is science. They partnered with NASA to produce the asteroid capture missions and the asteroid capture update for this. And when an organisation like NASA starts to take an interest in a game, you want to take notice of it. You want to look at it and go, why is it so important to them? And it's important anyway because it's a great learning and teaching tool. If you want to teach kids about space, play this game. Get this game and go, look at how astounding space is. Look at how brilliant space travel is. Look at what just one person can do with their brain and a bunch of parts. They can go to other planets. Come on, how is that not totally awesome? The third reason why you should get a Kerbal Space Program is the explosions. It might be a bit frustrating, especially if you've been on a long mission and you're trying really hard. If you quick save, you can go back. But when it goes wrong, it's not that bad. You can go back and you can try again. You can learn from your mistakes, and you can learn very, very quickly in this game from your mistakes and the mistakes that others have made. If you're thinking to yourself, where can I start? You know, I don't even know how this game works. What I'm going to do is leave a link in the description to Scott Manley. His Kerbal Space Program videos are some of the best that I've ever seen in terms of helping you to learn your way around it. And it is a learning experience. Not only is it amazing fun, it is a learning experience. So on today's episode, I recommend you Kerbal Space Program, because come on, and look at them, they're so cute. Look how cute he is with his little eyes. Come on, he clearly wants to go on an adventure, so go and have an adventure in space with science. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later.